All right, we are live here in Washington, D.C. in front of the Supreme Court on this very historic day in our nation's capital. Good morning, everybody. I'm Brian Glenn as we are live in anticipation of a possible decision that we have been waiting for several months. Now, let me set the scene here. We are right in front of the Supreme Court. We're right behind the Capitol over to your left, my right. And behind us, let me step aside, is a line of police that has been really surrounding this area ever since this morning. Now, earlier, there was plans for a D.C. shutdown, is what they were calling it, or shutdown D.C. Group of several protesters, pro-choice protesters, was an attempt to shut down D.C. And any access to the Supreme Court for today. That has not happened because the police had a very strong presence here, and they came and said, you know what, we're not shutting down these streets. And they actually, I saw them, addressed the protesters and said, if you don't leave, we're going to start arresting people. And so the shutdown failed. But what has happened, though, in front of the Supreme Court is we do have a gathering of people here. Now, if I was to say a percentage of people that are pro-choice, pro-life, it's overwhelmingly pro-choices here, even though the ones that are here for pro-life are very boisterous. But let's talk about what the Supreme Court could possibly release today. Now, they have so many decisions that have backed up throughout the year, really, and it's all due to not only the COVID breaks that we had here in the Supreme Court, but there's been so much on the plate. You've got a possible announcement for a gun control. You got a possible announcement for religious freedom. You got a possible announcement for the EPA. And of course, you have a possible announcement in regards to the Dobbs case out of Mississippi, which has direct implications to a Roe v. Wade reversal. Now, what exactly does a Roe v. Wade reversal look like? And as you will see here in a few minutes, and I do want to warn everybody, this is a very hostile crowd as far as you're going to hear some language 100% from the pro-choice side. I can assure you that. You're going to hear some language that is unacceptable to anyone's standards. So I'm just going to warn everybody what you hear and what you see. Just take that with a grain of salt as far as if you have any filter or if you have some young kids that might be watching as well. But what this means is that abortion, and then, by the way, it's not a right. You don't have a right to abortion. But that would get kicked down to the state level rather than the federal level, and that's what it was before, pre-Roe versus Wade. So this just takes it back down to the state level, and the states have various clauses for that as well. So a lot of these people, when you try to engage in a conversation, they're not wanting to do that. They just want to scream at you. They want to call you a white supremacist. They call me a homophobic. They call me every really name in the book, to be honest, but I can't say a lot of them are here on the air. So I need you guys to do right now is pray for this broadcast. Because we're entering a spiritual battle in this country, and we're seeing it unfold today. And we're going to talk to several organizations here, Concerned Moms for America, I believe is what they're called. They're here on the pro-life side, and there's some other Students for Life, I believe, are here as well. So we're going to try to talk to as many people as we can, and we're going to try and attempt to talk to the people on the pro-choice side. But like I said, I'm going to warn you, they don't necessarily engage in dialogue. As I am convinced that a lot of the people here right now are paid protesters. And what I mean is they only have 3 or 4 talking points. They chant over and over and over again. They don't want to have a conversation about the issue. They just want to scream at you and call you names. It's because they don't have the issues. They don't have the knowledge to go beyond that. So I am 100% in agreement to that they are paid protesters, a lot of it here. Also, it's here on site. I got to say, it's school's out, and there's a lot of tours. Some are people on vacation with their parents. We've had a lot of students come by here. We got a group of students off camera right now. Excuse me, that are doing tours of the Capitol and just really tours of D.C. And so, the sign of police presence here is only indicative of protecting a lot of the people that are here in D.C. on vacation, and they want to see our nation's capital. So the police is here to protect them as well as protect the pro-life side. Now, I heard somebody say earlier that the police was only here to protect the pro-lifers. Well, because the pro-choice side seems to be the aggressors in all of this. They're the ones that have followed me around, got into my face, would shout obscenities to me. They're the ones that are aggressing. The pro-life side, and we'll see later, will be filled with prayer and filled with hope and faith. So there's clearly two different sides here, and I can only imagine that the police protection here is to protect really the pro-life side, to be honest with you. That's in my personal opinion, but we're going to have plenty of people here to talk to. Let's go ahead and let me see, I do have concerned, I believe I had somebody that wants to talk to us. I think she's going to go walk over there. We'll try to get an interview. But let's go ahead and do this and let everybody, real quickly, share this broadcast, because today we are waiting on several decisions, and today could be the day. Also, today's a great way to understand what spiritual battle that we have in our country right now as far as the division in pro-life and pro-choice. But let's take a walk. Like I said, let's be mindful of what we see. And I can't guarantee that you're not going to hear. Okay, so we've got two sides here. We've got pro-life side here, Students for Life in front of us with the banner, and then you also have some basically some pro-choicers that will come through here, and they'll mix into the mix here, and they try to separate them, obviously, to try to keep the sides from really intermingling. That's really what happens. When people get together, emotions get kind of heated, and that's when you might have any type of altercation. We have not seen that today, and the police are doing an excellent job of separating the two sides. I'm going to see if we get a shot of this gentleman right here. Stop hitting each other because you disagree. The truth conductor. Yes, sir. I was told you've been here for several years here in Washington, D.C. You're a staple, and basically you're a great example how we can all come out here. We may disagree on some things, but we can still be friends at the end of the day.
Well, see, man, really, this is bigger than race and politics. We got parents that won't even talk to children, grandparents that's not talking to their grandchildren, siblings that won't speak. Look at probate court, divorce court, child support court. All of this stuff is magnified by race and politics. And this is a universal message that touches everybody all over the world, man. We got to stop talking at each other and start talking to each other. Nobody's perfect.
I think we need to have more dialogue between both sides.
That's the only way. We got to stop talking at each other, though. Because we're not perfect, man. If my half of the ship go down, yours is not staying afloat.
Let's talk about some of the things that you've been out here for. Obviously for this, but you've been through presidential elections.
This is Washington D.C. is the heartbeat of the world. So this is where people come from all over the world. And this is where you touch people. And this is what I try to do. I try to get out and just touch people, man.
A great job. I know when you walked up, several people recognized you from the D.C. area, and they said, hey, this guy's a good guy. He comes out here and tries to bring people together, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
And we got to start talking to each other, man, because none of us are perfect. So if we are not perfect, then and we respect each other's boundaries, we're the difference.
What's your thoughts on what you're seeing so far here today as far as the messages coming out of both sides?
Man, a lot of these people right here got family members that won't even speak to them. And they out here protesting another cause. If we could just get families back together. I'm not proud of it. My family is screwed up. And I know I'm not by myself. So let's try to get families, man, to start talking.
The abortion topic aside, how was the division during the Trump-Biden years as far as presidential election? Did you see the same type of division that maybe this does?
That's how they stand in power, man, by keeping us divided. You notice the people in power never got an answer. They always this close to a solution, and they never get it, but they always keep us divided. And we need term limits. That's what we need more than anything is term limits.
Some of these long-term politicians out of office. The truth conductor. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you for being out here. Stay safe, though. There we go. So he kind of said it. We need to pretty much show both sides. All right, so this is the pro-life side, obviously, and you can read some of the messages there. And there's a lot. Some of the talking points have been very much like when I was at the NRA convention. They were saying that you're killing kids in schools, you're killing our children, but they refuse to address the issue of abortion, and they have no problem killing babies in the womb, but not necessarily you might want to protect life outside the womb. Seems to be very subjective. And there is some House bills in California, for instance, that would actually make it legal to have your baby aborted up until birth and even after birth. Now those are House bills that are, if the Democrats get their way, would be into law. So to break all of this down, all this would do was take it back to the state level, and then various states at that point would be able to determine what their guidelines are in that state in terms of abortion. I know that the Texas Heartbeat Act, which we were here on November 1st of this last year, have it up to 15 weeks. So anything after 15 weeks, you cannot get an abortion. Now the Mississippi case brings it down even shorter than that. So some states perhaps will abandon it altogether. So we do not know yet. So we're going to get the police is about to mobilize. I just heard something here. I don't know what these guys are doing here. Now this is the pro-choice side, and earlier they were very active, They had a couple guys out here with megaphones screaming and kind of making a lot of noise. They seem to stop. I don't know if they're basically relocating from here or not, but they seem to be kind of rolling up the signs and maybe retransitioning. Now, I was out here last night at about 10:30 local time, and there was a few organizers behind me. Well, you can kind of see they've got blankets and things like that. I think they slept out here last night. They were here this morning, so it hasn't necessarily gotten bigger on this side, but I will say this, there was no pro-life side last night, and they just showed up this morning. So we got a little bit of reinforcement in here. This is what they're doing on the police side of things. They're changing out the front lines here, I guess, to ensure the people remain, healthy. And it is hot out here. I mean, it's probably low 90s here in the DC area. Now this line's moving out, I've been told, so they're going to switch out police here. So there's a couple things that are on the docket today, and maybe we'll try to get over here. Let me see if I can read some notes here real quickly. There's been a few released notes. Let's see. I'm looking right now to see what the... Yeah. All right, we're going to walk over this way. Let's take a look at this sign here. Defend the rights by any means necessary. Now, you can take that the way it reads. Build mass mobilization as the road to victory. The real power is in the streets. And I will say this, the activism here in D.C., and as you well know, that we were here post the election was intense, and no matter where you walked in D.C., you got the pro-choice side, you got the environmentalists, you got the activists for animal activists, you've got the protesters for just about anything. This is where this is what all starts here in D.C. So this is by their side here. And then, of course, the other side is the pro-life side. Now, I want to see if we have any, at this point, any latest news come down. I've got to read some notes here, so bear with me on this. The next drop is about 10:20, just a few minutes away from the next big one. So look out for right now is the guns and the praying situation, religious freedom. Let me bring you back. There was a pastor, or I should say a football coach, that basically prayed after the game at the 50-yard line and was basically fired from his job because of mixing in a little bit of religion into the school. And he's like, simply, students were there. We've seen. I live in Texas, and high school football is big, and you see prayer all the time, before a game, after a game, several players together. So you see that. That's on the agenda today as well. So religious freedom, we'll find out exactly what happens with that. But right behind me, they're saying, hey, hey, ho, ho. Roe v. Wade has got to go, and we'll find out here in a few minutes. So we've got the religious side of it, we've got the gun side of it, and of course there's legislation out of New York that is basically saying they want people to prove that you need a handgun, that you need to carry a handgun on the streets. That is up for debate, and what that does is some says that violates our Second Amendment rights, because we have the right to bear arms, we have the right to defend ourselves, and to have a separate some type of notification in order to prove that violates our Second Amendment. So that is up on review today. How you doing today? Well, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Out here, read a sign, keep your ban off. Yeah, so let me ask you a question. So,
I don't want to answer any questions because I'm afraid it might be manipulated.
Yeah, she doesn't want to talk to me. She's afraid that it might be twisted around.
My words will be held accountable according to the
Okay. Well.
Say on my sign. It says it very clearly there. I can explain the sign. Delete your draft or we all go back. My body, my choice, bending time, because if we already had a ban on abortion, so we should look at the historical records of what happened to those women. I've spoken to a few of them, and it's really awful. We really have to think about the lives of women that are at stake who maybe can't carry the pregnancy to term because it's an ectopic pregnancy, and it'll kill them to let that mitose in their bodies. And also, according to the New Testament, life begins at seed. So therefore, we would have to make masturbation illegal to follow the commandments of the New Testament. And according to the Old Testament, you have a duty to defend the mother's life from persecution from a child that could harm her, whether that be emotional or physical, and that's according to the dictates of her own specific religion. And our country believes in separation of church and state, which means freedom of religion for every single religion in this country, or someone who objects to being religious, they have the freedom to be an atheist or agnostic. Everyone has a choice of their own religion in this country, and that's a basic human right. And if my religion says that I can have an abortion, or if my own conscience says that, then I should be able to follow my own religion and not be persecuted and held liable for something that I don't agree with. I would like to be heard before the courts, before they personally take away my individual civil liberties, which includes my basic right to religious freedom as well as from attack. Because if I were to be a victim of rape, and people do get pregnant from rape, it is a fact. It is a fact that women get pregnant from rape if they're ovulating. Women ovulate a specific day each month, and it can be calculated, so a person could figure out how to get someone pregnant, God forbid, and harm them by doing something awful, knowing the laws of their state will protect that child of a horrible attack or something. That's not right. We need to be very careful. I know that they're not fascists, actually. They believe in freedom and liberty. They're not.
We let you talk.
But we believe women should be able to be free and men should be able to be free. You should be able to have the right to defend your body in every way, shape, and form. Thank you.
There you go. So I let you speak. That's great. Thank you. There you go. I'm not going to twist anything up. You heard it from her, so that's the way we do it here. So I'm going to come over here. We heard that, and you know, I try to pride myself when I was at the NRA convention. I'm going to let everyone speak. I'm not going to get in somebody's face and twist their words around. They're going to show me, they're going to tell me exactly what their thoughts on it, and I'm not going to twist them. So let's go walk over here and talk to the other side now. We're going to see if we can talk to somebody over here. Let's see if we can Wonderful. All right, let's see if I can talk to somebody on this side. I know earlier I had a couple of spokespeople for the Students for Life were talking out here. Yes, yeah. So, Brian, with Right Side Broadcasting Network, we're live on the air right now. So, we get your thoughts on about being out here.
Absolutely. My name's Lauren Marlowe. I'm here with Students for Life. We're here because today could be the day that Roe v. Wade is overturned, and we're super excited for it. You know, as Gen Z, as a pro-life feminist, I'm so excited for this opportunity to see dignity be restored to women and preborn children, just to end this violence in America.
What's your thoughts? Because a lot of the attention seems to go to the pro-choice side. It seems like it's kind of hip to do that. I mean, you're kind of an outsider in a way. You're a minority. It seems like as far as the voice that the media gives. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to do the crazy stuff they do, like strip in churches and scream as they've been doing and that sort of stuff to get attention. But that doesn't mean that we're not here. That doesn't mean that we're not, in general, like the majority. They say stats like 7 out of 10 Americans support Roe. But when you look deeper into it, when you tell people what Roe v. Wade actually means, that's not the case. Stats never show that. I can give you sources on that if you'd like to be able to back that up. But
let's talk also about what the experience has been like out here for you. Walking here, you've got some protesters here. Obviously, you had one guy here that was very boisterous with a. I don't know his name. I know he called me a white supremacist and everything in the book. But yeah, I take that as a grain of salt with him. But what's your thoughts on some of the opposition to what you believe in?
I mean, a lot of it's generally based in miseducation, A lot of them really don't know what they're supporting. They don't understand. We were here at the Bands Off Our Bodies rally a few weeks ago, and I walked around just sharing with people, showing them videos of what an abortion procedure is and showing them what it was, what it looks like, how old a child is and stuff when that happens. And I can't tell you how many people left the rally. They were there to support the abortion march, and I just showed them what an abortion was, and they left. They came all the way here to DC for that, and they left. And it just really shows that most people don't know what they're supporting. So we don't hate them. We're not mad at them. We're going to proudly and loudly chant what we believe, and we're going to fight for it, but we don't have hate for that side. We understand a lot of them don't really understand what they're fighting for.
And we actually pray for them as well. We pray for their understanding of why we believe what we believe. This isn't a political, this is life. This is protecting the unborn. As for someone that was adopted, I know all about that choice that has to be made, and that's why for me, and I've said this publicly, I'm absolutely pro-life because I was adopted, and there was an option at one point that I could have very well been aborted, and I wasn't, because my mom chose life, and I'm very thankful for that. So it'd be very hypocritical for me to even suggest at any point that I need to try to cross the aisle, if you will. It's very personal. This is a very personal thing. So what you're saying is education is key, because at the end of the day, when this is overturned, it just goes back to the states. So on a state level, and depending on what state you live in, those guidelines change.
Absolutely. Was that a question?
No, just observation,
Yeah, no, it's kind of terrifying seeing that. States like California are so far pro-abortion, they're not even thinking about what they're doing anymore. And some of their latest things that are getting passed and pushed through legislation-wise, they define abortion as relating to the prenatal period, which extends to 28 days after birth. And they don't have anything in there to clarify that you can't kill children 28 days after birth. It's insane.
I brought that up at the NRA convention when we were talking about saving kids' lives and saving our kids in school, which we all want to do that. But then when I brought up the abortion topic, they didn't know how to really address that. And when I brought up some of these House bills that are in various states where you can actually, make a decision to kill your baby after birth, it seems ridiculous. It seems absolutely far-fetched, like it's not something that we should have here in this country, but it's very much a reality of a choice that someone can make here in the U.S.
Yeah, no, it absolutely shouldn't be a choice. You hear people screaming, "My body, my choice," all the time. And at what point in society, anywhere else, is that a concept that we accept? When can I say, "My body, my choice, I get to use my body to hurt your body"? Nowhere. That's not a thing. You don't get to do whatever you want with your body if it affects other people. We know that smoking's bad for you. You can smoke on your own, but when you're pregnant or when you're in a public place, you can't smoke because a secondhand smoke can affect someone else. You can drink as much alcohol as you want, but you can't get behind the wheel of a car when you drink. You can do what you want with your body until it affects someone else, and when you are pregnant, there's someone else being affected, and so your choices affect them.
Well, thank you for your thoughts. I want to talk to you as well. You're out there chanting. Why is this personal to you? Why is this pro-life movement so personal for you?
Well, I found out when I was 16 that my mother, when she found out she was pregnant with me when she was 17, she considered having an abortion. Of course, I didn't know it then. She didn't know me, but she already had a son, and so that was one of the options for her. And my grandmother actually spoke life into her and said, "Look, this is not the way to go. Like, I'll definitely help you." And I'm standing in front of you today because my mom chose life, and it's as real as this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a very personal issue, but I'm here, to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Those 63 million people who are stuffed out before they could say a word.
And we know the stats on it that people choose abortion overwhelmingly. It's almost just sex protection. At a convenience, not really.
Planned Parenthood and the abortion lobby has done an amazing job, desensitizing the population about abortion, and they make millions of dollars from it, and billions, So, and I also want to ask, where is their annual report for this year? It's June, and they haven't sent it out yet. So yeah, I'm just out here, especially for the Black community. I think, abortion is one of the single things that kind of destroyed the Black community, right? Destroyed the Black family, the nuclear family. Margaret Sanger, she had her eyes on the Black community, very eugenics minded, and so she paid pastors to have them, talk to the congregation, the Black congregation, to desensitize them from abortion. And now we have so many ills in the Black community, and so many people missing. We've been in this country so long, and our population isn't increasing. We have about 30% of the abortions in this country. When you're 13% of the population and you have 30%, of the abortions, you're annihilating your people. You know what I mean? And that's where abortion facilities are located in minority communities as well. They have their target on people, and they always mention in the news, Black and Latino women will suffer most if Roe is overturned. What? Our population will benefit the best, because that's who you're targeting. So
now, I talked to the previous girl about what her experience was out here, getting some of the dialogue going back and forth from the pro-choice side. What has been your personal experience? You look pretty strong. I mean, you got a beautiful smiling face. You're in the middle of them. You're saying, you're shouting words of encouragement and your positivity. How do you deal with that? Because it's very difficult for a lot of people to come out here and do what you do because they don't want the confrontation.
Right.
How do you deal with the confrontation?
Yeah, I'm a Christian. I know that our Lord is watching over us. He protects us, and so I'm not afraid to come out. And a lot of the time we want to have conversations, with the other side. But as soon as they know that you're pro-life, they dismiss you as not knowing anything, and they walk away. They're not willing to talk about the issue. When you ask them what is a baby and when does life begin, they don't want to answer those questions. What they want is to just annihilate the life within them, and have no consequences for their actions. You choose to do the action that got you pregnant. You know what I mean? A lot of the time. You know what I mean? And most of the abortions happen where it's not a rape or incest situation, and even in rape and incest situations, a child should not be made to pay for their father's crime. You know what I mean?
The baby didn't ask for that.
Yeah, we should support women and provide for the child and everything, but don't just give her another act of violence to resolve the violence that was taken against her. So
there's a website right there, studentsforlife.org, and God bless you guys at a young age getting involved with this. I know politics is not easy to talk about, and it's not easy to step out in some phase, especially in this kind of emotionally charged arena that we have right now. So God bless you.
It's important, and look, the battle is between life and death out here, and we want to show that there is a strong support for life. People are very pro-life in this country. I believe it, and it's good that we come out and we show our faces. So yeah.
God bless. Well, and your first name?
Yorvilia, and my last name's Etienne.
Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. I do have to take a picture of your...
Let's do that. We're live. I'm going to take a picture with her because actually, I love the fact that you stepped out here and it was a brave soul. So let's go ahead and take a picture right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it right now. There we go. We'll come back around and get another one. Thank you very much. And so, let me ask you. I mean, the sign says goodbye, Roe. Your thoughts on being out here today?
Well, I think that it's really important that we have a young pro-life generation out here today. Even if today is not the day that Roe is overturned, we'll be here every single day until that happens. And although it's hot and it's sweaty, we're excited to be here for the possibility of a post-Roe world. Yeah,
post-Roe world. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it for coming out here. And we plan on being out here as well. As several sources had told us, hey, possibility today, could be tomorrow. I know they extended Wednesdays to be one of the ruling decision days as well. So it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be Wednesday. I will say this, next Monday is Juneteenth, so the court is not meeting then. So no decision decision would be pushed out then. So the next available day after that would be the last Monday of the month, because the Supreme Court takes a break for the summer. So starting in July, they do that. Savannah, I'm going to bring you over here for a second. I ran into independent journalist. You have to remind me your last name.
Savannah Hernandez.
Hernandez, that's right. I apologize for that. We're talking to you earlier about your video you did in Dallas, talking to the people at the gas station about the Biden and the fuel prices. What's your thoughts on this today? I mean, if this is one of those topics that when you cover it, it's so emotional. Like, gas prices is one thing, and the cost of food is another. But when you start talking about the option of life and death, and who should say when life begins, when life ends, I mean, this is very an emotional time.
Yes, it has been a chaotic day, to say the least. When this first started off at 7 a.m. this morning, it was an anti-climate change or pro-climate change. I don't even know who's pro or anti at this point. It was climate change, it was gun rights, it was abortion rights, it was stand for indigenous and black people's rights. So there was a lot going on this morning. It was very chaotic. And then we have, what we're seeing here with the pro-abortion activists, the pro-life activists. What was really interesting to me is the energy of the pro-life crowd versus the energy of the pro-abortion crowd. You can see the life and the happiness in these people's eyes, and then if you go over to the abortion side, they're very angry. They can't even explain their own mindset and why they're defending this. I was just talking to this woman over here. She said abortion is her religion, and that's why she doesn't want, the state to impede on her religion. And I said, well, what's your religion? And she said, I'm my religion. So these people can't even explain their own ideology, their own religion. A lot of confused and misled people here today.
No, that's absolutely. They don't know the issues. And I said this, Savannah, I think a lot of these people that we saw earlier were paid protesters because they don't know how to engage in a conversation. They have about 2 or 3 talking points, and then it's just becoming a screaming match. So to your point, you're absolutely correct. I don't think they believe what they're saying. They're just probably paid to say that.
100%. These people can't defend their position because they don't believe their position. That's why you can go up to any pro-abortion activist right now, and if you actually press them on why they're here, when a baby becomes a baby, they have no idea, they have no answer, they have no... I don't even know what they're doing here, Brian. It's a lot. It's just hilarious to me because I'm like, you know what? It's Monday morning at 8 a.m. How do you have the energy to come out here, take time out of your life to protest something that you're not even aware of?
I've said, do these people even have jobs? I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I asked them and they were like, oh, well, I'm off today. I'm like, you're off on a Monday. Okay.
And they're off on every day because what I understand, a lot of these people have been here for the BLM protests, like you said, the environmental protests. And of course, when President Trump was in office, it was a zoo all the time in front of the White House. It was an absolute circus, and it was all on purpose. They wanted to create such a violent, environment to make it look like Trump's responsible for all this chaos. And now you go by, I haven't been by today because I got in last night, it's tumbleweeds and crickets for the most part. There's nobody protesting all of the destructive policies from the Biden administration. They're silent on that, but yet they couldn't wait to protest Trump on everything he did.
Exactly. It's manufactured chaos. I blame our media. I've thought about this very often. And I say, what's the core issue in America? And it's our media that continues to stoke racial divisions, continues to lie to the people, continues to tell us that Joe Biden's America is doing great, that the economy is great, that there's no inflation, that gas prices are because of, Putin in Ukraine. No, absolutely not. This is Joe Biden's America, and it is the media that continues to stoke this type of chaos and this violence genuinely. So, and again, too, I was talking to some of those protesters, some of them camping out here. They have sleeping bags, and they're going to be staying here until Roe v. Wade is potentially overturned.
And that could be either today, tomorrow, or Wednesday. I was kind of going over the calendar earlier. If it's not this week, since Monday's a holiday, of course, you never know. They could push it out any day, actually. But hoping that we get a heads up on that, because as someone in the media, you kind of want to know when something might happen so that we're here on the ground to cover it. I've seen your stories. You're an amazing reporter. You do such a fabulous job on going out there and really talking to the people about what's bothering them and what's their thoughts on stuff. And I was really surprised, but then maybe I wasn't, about the African-American community that you were talking to, about really the disgust they have for Joe Biden, and they really feel like they've been lied to by the Democrats in terms of, do they really care for them and the gas prices, the economy, things like that. What's your takeaway on that?
My takeaway is that, again, the media continues to lie to us, and that's why, and I encourage every American to do exactly what I do. You go out in the streets, and if you see Joe Biden tweeting about how the black community loves him, the Hispanic community loves him, and the economy is doing great, you go to those communities and you ask them, hey, how do you really feel about this? They'll tell you the truth. And so, again, the inner cities of Dallas, Texas, the black community, the gay community, any minority communities, none of them like Joe Biden. That is the consensus on the ground. The media continues to lie to us, and they can do that all day, but I'm going to counter it and show America the truth. Nobody likes you, Joe.
Don't you like it the other day when Joe Biden came out and said that the economy was going to outpace China and we have an amazing recovery, and then the very next day, or 2 days later rather, 8.9% inflationary rate based on the year before. Like, the American people, I mean, we're not dumb. We can kind of add things up, and we know we can come to a conclusion ourselves that the economy is not good, Joe, and the American consumer is suffering big time.
See, and I actually want to counter what you said earlier, because you said the economy, inflation rates really aren't an emotional thing. But if you go to grocery stores and you talk to the moms who say, I can't feed my baby, there's baby formula shortages, I haven't been able to, drive my child to school barely because of the gas prices, it is a very emotional thing, because people are really feeling the pain in their wallets. They can't afford rent. Everything's getting bad, and it's not going to lead to a good place.
Yeah, Savannah Hernandez joining us here live at the Supreme Court on this could be historical Monday here in June. And let's turn the camera real quickly, and I'll show you that the crowd has kind of, Savannah, well, actually what they did, they just separated more. Yeah. They just kind of created more of a barrier in the middle, which I honestly think is a good thing. And I was out here November 1st, and I was out here on December 1st for both the Dobbs and the Texas Heartbeat Act. This was full. There was a ton of, there's way more people than they are here right now. Now, reason being, I don't know why, but I do like the separation here, because you know what? It could get a little chaotic once this thing is reversed.
And again, I've been here all morning, and of course, your audience can guess which side is perpetuating and promoting the violence. Of course. Let me stop
you right there. It's interesting. I heard somebody tell another person that said, "Oh, well, the police are here to protect the pro-life people." I'm like, well, yeah. Because we're not out here throwing anything. The fence you see behind us is not to protect the Supreme Court or the justices or the administration staff from pro-life people. I can assure you that. They are to protect the chaos that will erupt when this is announced that will happen from the pro-choice side.
I mean, Roe v. Wade hasn't even been overturned yet, and look what has already happened this week. We had an assassination attempt on Kavanaugh. People went and protested in front of his home, which is illegal. They're intimidating a Supreme Court justice. We had activists shut down churches. Joel Osteen in Houston, they went and they stripped during his church service. We also had the WNBA that was also hijacked by pro-abortion activists. So look at how these people are acting, and Roe v. Wade hasn't even been overturned yet, and they're already up in arms. They're already calling for violence. I've heard it myself here today multiple times. I've watched as these people have put bullhorns in people's ears and faces. It was happening to you earlier as well. A very chaotic group. And again, this is just the lead up. It hasn't been overturned yet. So what this country is in store for is not good. And again, going back to 2020 and what we allowed to happen, what we, showed people like, hey, violence is okay. That was basically the message that the Democrats sent by allowing BLM to burn our entire nation down. So what do you think is going to happen with Roe v. Wade now?
Absolutely. I was just looking at some of my notes here as this continued to release some at about 10:20. They released a lot of opinions today. They still have not released, obviously, the Roe v. Wade, but they had some others, which makes me believe if they, we may be getting down to just a few left. And will it happen today? Will it not? This is the most decisions they've ever had backed up in the month of June, though. This is a fact because of, COVID backed some things up. Plus, we've had such a toxic political environment. There's so much to rule on. So this is a historic year for the Supreme Court. They're going to release a lot of decisions in this year.
Exactly. And again, I was talking to many of my fellow journalists, and I said, it's actually sad that the majority of us are happy that this decision has not been announced yet because of the violence that we can all expect. Again, look at what is already happening on the streets of America. Why are we living in a country where we basically have our hands tied by BLM and Antifa, the pro-abortion crowd? Why are they allowed to run rampant and terrorize people? It's not okay.
And Brett Kavanaugh, what they did to him is unbelievable. I mean, I thought it was illegal to basically assemble in front of somebody's house like that on their property and being as boisterous and threatening as they were. And of course, a man travels from California with all the tools and the intent, and even said he was there to do.
Remember what Jen Psaki said as well. Oh, well, we actually support protesters protesting in front of Kavanaugh's home or the justice's home. It's like, this is the administration that is currently in office. And then you had Joe Biden, who was on Jimmy Kimmel earlier last week, saying, oh, you know, let's make a joke about putting my political opponents in prison. What I want a lot of the viewers to understand too is what the left and what Democrats truly do think of their political opponents. They want us jailed, they want us terrorized, and that's why the streets of America are this chaotic.
They do. If you think they despise what you believe in, and I said this the other day, and some hit piece wrote an article about me because I said I was covering a Governor DeSantis boat parade in Florida, and all these, Trump flags, DeSantis flags, and I said, well, where's the Biden boat parade? Where is it? Because I like to go cover a Biden I Love America boat parade, and I got ridiculed for saying that, but in all honesty, where are the events across this country that celebrate our nation, our freedom, our liberty, that's originated from the left? Where is that?
It's not natural. It's not organic. I mean, you can see that with any of Joe Biden's press conferences, any of the events that his motorcade, he's been driving around the streets of America, and every single time his motorcade drives through, what is it? It's Trump flags. It's Trump supporters. People do not like Joe Biden. And again, he has zero support. He is not organic. And he was, I don't know what I can say on RSBN, but the election, it was
it was compromised. That was an interesting election. I will say also say this. It seems like now Biden was like, I'm going to come out in 2024. And the front page of the New York Times had a kind of a joke about it. And AOC won't even admit, she won't publicly endorse him, even though she said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The Democrats, who do they have to lead this country? They have a far left. I actually think it was going to be Newsom-Trump is what I think it's going to be. I think Newsom's going to emerge from the left. That's just my opinion, because I can't think of anybody else I know, we all say no, right? But we think that after 2 more years of this chaos, I think conservatives and Trump wins in a landslide. That's my personal opinion. But who else do they have?
That's such a great question, and it's one that I haven't even thought of myself, but they really don't have anyone, which is why we still even have Michelle Obama and Barack Obama at the forefront of this presidency, because they know that Joe Biden's not popular. Oh, I wonder what's going on over
I don't know. We've got a little bit of I don't know, but I will say this. It looks like we had the people from the Students for Life. They kind of packed up and reversed. Let's see what's going on over here. Just, guys, we're live out here in front of the Supreme Court here in Washington, D.C. Savannah Hernandez was joining me here briefly as we cover some of this stuff here. I guess they maybe removed a protester here that was, I don't know. I'm just assuming. Okay, Savannah's going to go check on that. But, it's been emotional here. And like we said this morning, I got here early. Last night I was here. There was just a few people, maybe a dozen people that were camped out here in front. Just continuously talking on the bullhorn over and over again, even though no one was really saying anything. Let's just see what this is all about over here. Here you go. Let's see if we got anything going on over there. No, I can't.
Line battery scare, guys, but everything's all good.
Somebody's handheld receiver microphone probably need to be replaced. So, but that is the environment here. I mean, Savannah, it's emotional, it's charged, and like you said earlier, one side generally does prayer sessions. If there's music set up, you can hear prayer and praise and worship music, and the other side screams at you. And they hurl profanities towards you, and they get the bullhorn. I don't know where the guy went with the bullhorn. I think he just got tired of talking to himself, but he left. Without him, it's actually quiet down quite a bit. But you can see, this side, this was full of the kind of pro-life side, the Students for Life. They've packed up. I don't know what else is planned here today. Have you heard of anything else that's going on?
Not today. I think that this was about it. We did have Pride in D.C. all weekend.
Tell me about that. I was talking to the Uber driver on the way here last night, and he said it was kind of crazy.
It was very crazy. I went to the Pride March in Washington, D.C. here on Saturday, and the things that I saw were horrific, to say the least. Okay, we had transgender men with their breasts exposed, twerking in front of children. We had little children marching in the parade. We had people openly drinking and smoking weed. It smelled like Snoop Dogg's house in D.C., and you have little kids walking around here. And the degeneracy that I witnessed with my own 2 eyes was very spiritually depleting, and it was just so heartbreaking for me to see these children that were being given these rainbow flags, being clad in rainbows by their parents, and being forced to be a part of this event. A lot of them looked like they were tired. These kids were in strollers. They were sleeping. It wasn't a family-friendly event, to say the least.
It's disgusting what's going on, and they paint it under acceptance, and it's the grooming of children, and we all know that. Let's see if I. Thank you, Brian. No, thank you. I'll be around here. Do you mind me asking what was happening? We're live on the air, by the way.
Absolutely. I'm Teresa Bukovinak. I'm the founder of POW, Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising. We've been out here every single decision day. That is my iconic megaphone, and they took it. We had somebody come over.
They took it from you.
Yeah, well, they pretended to be one of us, and we were going to take a picture, and we gave them the megaphone to hold for the picture, and then he was like, oh, wait, I don't want to be in the picture, and then walked over, took the batteries out of her megaphone, and handed my megaphone over to them.
That's going back to where they found the batteries in the tree. Okay, that brings it all back full circle right here. Okay, you've been here from the beginning. I know you were talking about Governor DeSantis and that he actually basically pointed you out.
He referenced the discovery that Lauren Handy and I made outside a D.C. late-term abortion clinic. We found the bodies of 115 dead babies in a box labeled medical waste, bound for an incinerator that would provide electricity for the city of Baltimore. And 5 of those babies were extremely late-term, basically full-term, and they are currently at the medical examiner's office here in D.C. We're awaiting an autopsy. We're pressuring for an autopsy, but at least we got Governor DeSantis to pass a 15-week ban because of it.
You've got a replica of a baby right here. Let's talk about this. I've seen Father Frank Pavone from Priests for Life do a demonstration and show people just how big a baby is at a certain term. So let's talk about that for a second. What do you have there?
Yeah, so this is a 22-week fetal model. This is the age of viability most places in the United States. And the babies that we found in the box, 5 of them were at least double this size. They were full-term babies.
Came from the clinic.
Came from Washington Surgery Center.
Unbelievable. I mean, you talk about some of these bills that are being presented in California, and that you could decide to kill your baby after birth. It's on the table. You decided whether or not you want it or not. That's just pure evil.
Well, it's literally already happening there. I spent the last 14 years in San Francisco. I started pro-life San Francisco, and we were fighting against fetal organ harvesting there because they literally have to rely on monthly supplies of late-term babies, and in order to get the freshest tissue, they need to be delivered alive.
Yeah. We're glad you're out here. So what's next for you? I know the decision maybe didn't come down today. There's some other decisions. We'll talk about that later. But what's next? Do you stay here a couple more days until it's decided, or what's your plans?
Oh, absolutely. I live here. I moved here last year from San Francisco to be here for this reason. We will be here on Wednesday. We will be here every single decision day leading up to this decision. And then, we've got some other trips to take midweek. We are making efforts across the country. We are mobilizing activists for direct action on behalf of these victims.
What do you think about Texas with the Texas Heartbeat Act? We are out here November 1st with that. That is one example how these states are really being aggressive on trying to really put a thumb on what should be allowed in terms of abortion. And then, of course, the Mississippi case. What's your thoughts on Texas?
Oh, we're very excited about Texas. Roe versus Wade originated in Texas, and to see such a pervasive abortion ban actually go into effect there, I think it really signals that we're going to win this. We are going to get our country to the place where killing a baby anytime between conception and birth is a crime.
Amen to that. All right. Well, thanks for coming out here. I know you've got your group here, and you'll be out here tomorrow. And, of course, we'll continue to cover this as well as everything kind of unfolds here in the next couple of days. And we've had some other rulings. We'll get to those in a little bit as far as gun control, things like that, religious freedom, even the EPA. There was even a ruling, I think, coming out on the EPA about the overreach that the EPA has in terms of policy and some of the things that they could do and what they can't do. And of course, that kind of goes into the point of the Green New Deal. It's very politicized. You would think that it wouldn't be. It would be in the best interest of what's better for us, but there is a political agenda behind the EPA, and that was one of the rulings. And I'll get into it, and I have a chance to check my phone here, as my notifications have just been going off constantly, though. But this is the scene right now as we sit here, local time here in D.C. It is 10:53. here locally. We're glad you're joining us. We are live right in front of the Supreme Court. Now, earlier, about 53 minutes ago, there was some anticipation that this ruling could come here this morning, and as we have heard, it has not happened. But we definitely anticipate perhaps a Tuesday or Wednesday. From what I heard maybe it was tomorrow, and of course, Wednesday's another day as well. Some of the I think she got her thing. She said abortion is murder. So there we go. We just she said the silent part out loud. So we'll be here covering this as well. Let's step over here for a second. I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about some of the things that we need to take care of some business here. Now, look, you know, we're getting into some very biblical times here in this country, and I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to follow us on our app. Go to your iPhone, your Android store, and download our app. I had several people here today that had never heard of us. They say, hey, Right Side, I've seen you somewhere. And they download our app instantly so they can keep in touch with everything that's going on. So I encourage you to download our app and have it on your phone, especially in these next couple of days, because when things happen, you're going to get these push notifications that we're live. Also, follow us on across social media: Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, Getter, Truth Social, YouTube, obviously. Follow us, subscribe to those channels, as we'll push out notifications as well, because this is going to go down within the next couple of days. Excuse me. Extremely hot out here. None of us have had water probably the last hour, so we'll probably take a short break so we can get hydrated. But just follow us. The time to do that would be now, and share this broadcast as well, because I want people to know kind of who's out here covering all. Excuse me, all of this as I cough. Small group still remains here. I tell you what, if Master Control could, we could toss to a message from our good friend Mike Lindell over at My Pillow. You want to talk about a patriot? He is a patriot like no other, and he would be here today if he could, because he stands for life, he stands for liberty, he stands for freedom. So if we could, please, let's toss to My Pillow commercial, and we'll go into a promo, then we'll come back out here as we're live here at the U.S. Supreme Court here at our nation's capital. As we're covering could be a very historic day in our nation's capital. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I want to give each and every one of you one last chance to get my original My Slippers. Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen now. Use your promo code and you'll get your very own My Slippers for only $49.98. That's $90 off and the biggest savings ever. What makes My Slippers different is my exclusive 4-layer design that you won't find in any other slippers. My Slippers' patented layers make them ultra comfortable, extremely durable, and they help reduce stress on your feet. Not only that, they come with an indoor-outdoor sole so you can wear them anytime, anywhere. I guarantee they'll be the most comfortable slippers you'll ever own. And now you can get them for the best savings ever, only $49.98. Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen now to get your very own My Slippers for only $49.98. That's $90 off. We have extremely low quantities, and once they're gone, so order now.
And if you could, please take advantage of that promo code on there, because, you know, full transparency, portion of those sales comes back to help this network do what we're doing and covering events like this. So here's what we have left of today. Now, I will say this. If you look down the street, that's where the apparent shutdown D.C. was going to take place this morning. Several groups saying that they were going to block access to the Supreme Court. That lasted a hot minute until the authorities showed up and said, look, if you remain here, we're going to arrest you. And so they have dispersed. So the police have done an excellent job in really protecting the groups here. And we've got a group of students that have been continuously walking through here to tour the nation's capital, which is behind me. So as you would expect this time of year, you get a lot of student organizations, family bring their kids to D.C. for a tour. What an amazing time to come to D.C. Typically outside of this would be relatively quiet, I would think, but not today. It's a different scene. But the shutdown D.C. did not work today earlier. That was dispersed. They were arrested, or they weren't arrested. They were threatened to be arrested. They broke up. But they still have, D.C. Capitol Police still has a van that is ready back over there to basically take anyone who does not want to follow the law and does not follow what they're supposed to do. So We're going to remain out here. We'll keep our eyes and ears open as things start to develop. The decisions, from what I understand, have all completed for today. But the next scheduled day on the calendar is Wednesday. But I also heard some chatter about it could be tomorrow. My personal opinion, and that's just purely speculative, I think it should come sooner than later because of what we saw with Brett Kavanaugh and what happened to him. And I think the longer this plays out, the higher the chance of something like that happening again. It's completely disgusting that they would threaten a Supreme Court justice, and it's really all an intimidation factor. This is all about intimidating these justices to, if you rule a certain way, this is what's going to happen. That's why I think you have the fences up. The fences are not up to basically protect the Supreme Court justice from the pro-life organizers. The fences are up to protect it from the violence and the rhetoric coming from the pro-choice. That is a fact, absolutely a fact. And I think as long as this goes, it really doesn't play out well in terms of how many people were gathered. So I would like a decision to come sooner than later. I also remind everybody, if you're not following us on social media, do that, because we're going to be out here all day the next couple of days showing you a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't go live on, but we'll have it on social media. You can follow me as well at Brian Glenn TV, Brian Glenn TV across the board. Follow me. I'll be putting up as much content as I can out here. I'm probably going to overload my stories and my Twitter feed, but it's important that we show you what's going on here in our nation's capital and who is here, how many people are here, what's actually going on here at our nation's capital. We're going to show you unedited, unfiltered, and we, like you said, you had a girl out here earlier that was talking to. She said she didn't want to talk to me because she thought I would twist her words or edit it in a way. Well, as you could see, I was straightforward, and I told her exactly, hey, here's the microphone. Tell me why you believe you should, someone should have the right to kill the unborn, and she said that. So that's what we're here for. We're here to cover what's going on, and the best way you can follow us outside that we're not live is on our social media platform. While you're at it, go to rspnetwork.com. Also, sign up for our newsletter. It's absolutely free. You just put in your email address, you fill out a couple spaces, and you're there. You'll get our newsletter every Wednesday pushed out. Now, obviously, if breaking news happens, those might be pushed out a little bit sooner, but a little bit more frequently. But sign up for our newsletter. Grace Saldana, Alex Caldwell, Summer Lane. We have a tremendous staff of writers right now that really write about stuff that's happening in our world right now, and this is one of them. Also, shout out to our moderators, especially on a content like this, that get into our chat rooms and make sure everyone's playing by the rules and we don't have anything that's inappropriate. So thank you very much to our moderators for spending so much time, man. We would figure my cameraman's out here, I'm out here, but behind the scenes you have people in master control that are doing their jobs. You've got writers that are doing their jobs, and we have these moderators that are online filtering through all these comments, making sure that everyone kind of paints between the lines there. And so it's very important that we do that. So thank you to our moderators that control all of our chat rooms. But here we go right here. I mean, it's down to just a few people, and I would imagine as we get tomorrow, the crowd might get even bigger. I'm trying to see exactly what their bandanas say. I'm trying to read. I can't read it from here. But anyway, it's all about overturn Roe, rise up for abortionrights.org. There you go. Well, which, by the way, it's all right, and that's probably going to be the scene the rest of the day here. I tell you what, we can close this out. Let's walk over this way, and we'll give our viewers an opportunity to see some of the police presence. You saw the officers here earlier. Let's walk over here and give you an idea. Now, there is a rather large fence around the entire Supreme Court in anticipation of this. There's two fences. There's a little the cattle fence, the smaller ones, and then the larger fence. That was put up weeks ago in anticipation of what the rulings I've had so far. With that said, if you turn and look towards our Capitol, as you can see people coming in, it's open. there is no barriers preventing you from going to the Capitol. And I know there's tours going on right now in the Capitol, and I've seen them going in and out. So that is something that you could absolutely do right now. So if you're planning on coming down to D.C. with your family this summer, that is open. It seems like D.C. in general is open. It's just right now, this particular street, because of this protest, is shut down. And from my understanding, they're going to remain shut down for the really short term. Down there, you can see the barriers set up that prevents people from coming down the street. There's a Capitol Police van there. Sizable police presence. I was talking to a local yesterday. When I came in, they said, look, man, the last couple of days, we've seen more police around this area than we have seen in a long time. And he was not aware of a lot of stuff going on. It's interesting to know how many people are just misinformed as far as what's actually being ruled on right now and what's going on in our nation's capital. And Savannah Hernandez laid out beautifully when she went to a gas station to kind of get people's thoughts on the economy. It's amazing how misinformed people are as well. So I do want to leave with this. The guy with the bullhorn down there, he was the one out here early. I think he must have took a water break or something, because he was out here just getting in everyone's face, and he left for whatever reason. So we'll walk back over here and then we'll wrap it up. But we want to remind everybody, this is a very fluid situation. So if things happen, if things change, if anything happens in terms of protest demonstrations, we will be out here live covering all of it. So please keep your notifications on your phone, on the website. Make sure you keep everything. So make sure you have all of the so this is the guy. He's something else. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up from here. We are live here in the U.S. Supreme Court, so stay tuned to all of our social media for the latest developments here in Washington, D.C. Brian Glenn reporting live from the Supreme Court. I leave you with this. Until next time, goodbye. God bless.